Welcome to the Mindful Monk, episode 16. Welcome to my friends and to anyone new who may be joining us today. I'm your host for the series, Father Simon Sleeman. I'm here in my monastic cell. It's a bit wet. I had planned to go outside, but it's a bit wet. Just to let you know, I now have a YouTube channel which has all the episodes loaded up on it. They need to be organized a bit better. It's a work in progress, but at least they're all in one place. It's a YouTube channel dedicated very clearly to what I like to call usable wisdom, drawn from the areas of psychology, ecology, and spirituality. Wisdom that I hope will enhance our experience of this one wild, wonderful life, as Mary Oliver liked to describe it. This life is short and we need every help to make the most of it. And today I want to return to play, particularly adult play. I imagine this can trigger all sorts of images in your mind of children fighting for places on slides or on swings. And anyway, didn't we leave all this behind us when we were children? Play is for children. So we've a sort of an innate sort of bias, I think, against it. But there is growing recognition that play, recreational fun, is very good for both our mental and physical well-being. And we know it instinctively that if we loosen up and have some fun, be it dancing or whatever, playing cards, that we feel better. Many countries are now recognizing the importance of it, and with the increasing number of people 65 and up, they're having to provide these, what they call senior parks. They're very common in China, and one has been opened in Hyde Park, which is more a fitness area, but at least people are there and they're interacting and arguing and having fun. And apparently Barcelona is the place to be, because there's 300 of them apparently in Barcelona. So many of us have forgotten how to play like we were when we were children. There's a huge erosion of downtime in our busy, overscheduled lives, and with our to-do lists, and we don't even know how to take downtime or to play. Maybe this lockdown is a time when we've rediscovered that. Certainly it's reprioritizing for me. One of the things I've been doing is reading my father's war diary. He was captured at Dunkirk, and he kept a secret diary every day on small little bits of paper, and then it was typed up later, and he diagrams of his bunk bed. Imagine being in bunk bed. But just to read you an extract from it, he says about the food, it's amazing how down one gets when there's a long delay in the arrival of the soup. Soup was the main course. We'd wait till 3 o'clock on some occasions, which is the first meal of the day. And potato soup was, as particularly discussed, it consists of half a litre of water, and if you're lucky, a small potato or peel floating in it. So he was moved to a room with 84 people in it. He came out of a room where there was less, but this room, he says, there's constant shouting and organizing going on, and everybody seems to want to be in control. Can you imagine a group of men in lockdown in one room, 83 of them? Owing to the lack of tables or stools, we have to eat our meals either standing up or sitting on one's bed. Being near the window, I generally manage to balance mine on the window ledge. And one entry for the 21st of June, which we're just coming to, he says, the news that France has signed an armistice was received. The camp was most depressed. But later, he says, in that evening, the room hums with bridge, poker, and whist. So, locked down for 4 years, they found ways to even play. Now, as we get older, we've had a lot of time to accumulate disappointments and hurts and, the day-to-day turbulence of our lives can knock the fun out of it, and we forget how to play or have fun. And I know that I'm not good at taking this time out or playing, because my life is busy and I seem to be in a hurry, and I'm in a monastery, which should be ideal, you just said. But I have a phone and a laptop and emails coming in, and I find my play activities, what I would describe, they're squeezed to the edge. They're squeezed to the edge. They're fight for space in my day, you know. Even last night I found colouring is one of the things I learned in the hospital last year. I thought it was a very childish thing for them all to be doing, but then I did some and I found it immensely relaxing. So I have a colouring book and I've done all sorts of, I do, oh, that's not done yet, but my current one is towards the back. That's the one I'm working on. But you'd be amazed. It quietens your mind. It relaxes. It's a lovely, I love it. And I have to stop myself doing it. I can't believe it. So there's even in science is providing clear evidence that play it lights up the brain and generates lots of impulses and new synapses form, especially in our frontal lobe, the very important bit. And we know now that our brain can keep on developing as we age. We thought we got a certain number of neurons and that was it, but now we know better. And certain play activities, I've discovered a new word, are neuroprotecting, that they keep us generating new connections in our brain and protect us from things like dementia, learning a new language, learning a new musical instrument, particularly something involving your eye-hand coordination. I'm thinking maybe for my neuroprotecting, take up juggling. That would be a good one. Play can also lift one's mood if you're going down. And if they found also that people with dementia in nursing homes and there are very encouraging signs from research that an increase in play they used to enjoy, it reduces the need for medication and there's less agitation if they are given time and encouraged to pray. I nearly said. I once heard this and I thought it was a great line. If you're depressed or down or your mood is low, the question is not when did you become depressed? The question is, when did you stop dancing? I think it's from some indigenous group. For me, play is anything that takes me out of myself, gets me out of my mind, into the flow, absorbs me, and is fun. And I really like the idea that it's neuroprotective, learning new things. I like to dance. I like to skip. I like to colour. I have bees, which I enjoy being with. And here we play cards in the evening, and I enjoy the banter and the interaction that brings. Kevin Carroll is an interesting man I came across, and he's done a lot of work on playing. He carries a ball with him everywhere he goes. Because if you have a ball in your hand, you're likely to throw it to someone or you'll engage in some sort of a game. And it depends what ball you carry, but he does. And I think he recommends that we resign from being adults and go back to believing everything was possible as we did when we were children. And we have a right to play and a need to play for its social, mental, and physical benefits. Now, if you're struggling, he suggests, and I've tried this and I think it's a good idea, is to go back to early play memories, a holiday, a birthday party, a present you got. Because the play memories reside in each of us and we can reconnect with them and explore them and feel the emotion of them. Connect with those joyful things and build from that emotion that it gave you. And it's a very powerful, I've done it. I remember getting a water pistol and the joy, it was a blue sky and I was happy and I was playing. And I reconnected with that and it re-energized me. So I recommend if you're having trouble playing, that's a good trick to do. I'm tempted to finish up with the story of Charles Whitman. There was a young psychiatrist. Charles Whitman was in Texas and he was an ex-Marine. And he was the first person to cause a mass shooting, or he shot, I think, 46 people, 13 died, many were injured. But he went up the tower in Texas of Austin University in Austin, and started shooting. And a young psychiatrist called Stuart Brown was walking down the corridor in the university, and he heard the sound of the shooting broadcast over the university. And he said, "What was that?" to an older psychiatrist. And he said to himself, "I'm going to investigate how did this person, a Marine, suddenly, start killing people like this?" And he investigated all the normal variables that you would, and he talked to the people who Charles Whitman grew up with, and eventually, the only variable he heard consistently was that this child was never allowed to play. Never allowed to play. He was forced to play the piano. His father was a violent man, and that was also obviously, but he was never allowed to play. Now, since then, he did leave money for his, he wanted a post-mortem on his brain because he really felt there was something wrong with him. And they did find a tumor impinging on his amygdala, part of the brain. But our friend Stuart Brown said, "I'm going to investigate this further." So he went to Huntsville Prison in Texas. And this is where they keep all the people who have murdered people, the most violent crime. And he found the same thing over and over again. People they'd not interacted, they'd not played, and that this had to contribute to their lack of empathy and what had caused them to do these violent and dreadful things. I found that a powerful story. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you keep safe and well, and every blessing, and we'll see you next week. God bless.